a podcast called Strangest Fruit.
Yeah, so we have Mr. Shin and
Kevin,
Kevin. Okay. How long have you been here?
this prison 1 year, about a year.
1 year?
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been here at Pleasant Valley for 3, but then been down for 13. So it's actually 4.
Mr. Shin, I got a question to ask you.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah. This one way out there. What was it like chilling with Kobe?
With Kobe,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't chill with him, but I ran into him at my gym.
The show called it chilling.
Yeah, well, he's amazing, man. Amazing work ethic. First one in the gym, right when it opened. He was there, dark. And as soon as we go in there, guys just shooting baskets after baskets,
Did you take anything from him from watching him?
Yeah, hard work. That's the secret to success. You can either work really hard or you inherit it, and then you don't work hard because you inherited it, so you're going to lose it, or you do nothing and you're not successful.
What part from Cali?
Yes, sir. Orange County.
Orange County? All right, this just took a shift for a whole new. So we got college? No,
Yes,
college.
college.
College? No,
Yeah.
college.
Yep.
What'd you major in?
Business administration.
Well, how far did you go in college? What did
It's an MBA.
and where did you go with it?
I was political science, and I was on my way to finishing a MBA as well.
Now this is going against all the statistics. Me, I'm a brother. We
Right.
got a whole bunch of Hispanic brothers in here. We understand the statistics. What is your nationality? You don't mind me asking.
Half Lebanese, half Syrian. So Middle Eastern.
American-born Korean.
How did you end up here?
I'm here for second-degree murder for a car crash.
Were you drunk?
I was not, no, sober.
Second-degree murder for a car crash. You weren't drunk. Did you purposely hit him?
No, but there was speed involved. So I was speeding.
If they were to ask you, anybody would ask you, do you believe it was a mistake?
Of course, of course.
Do you believe you should? How much time?
I got 15 years to life, and I've been still got 7 more years to board.
Do you feel like, in my heart of hearts, a car crash? That's a bit much right there. To me, I look at it like a person speeding and they hit somebody is a mistake. Me personally, that's my honest opinion. Me. How do you feel?
Well, there is a lot more involved than just that. So by no way do I want to minimize that car crash, because someone did lose their life. I was responsible for that. So there was past speeding tickets that were used as kind of sort of a Watson, sort of say, and that's why I was charged with the charge I am today. 15.
Are you content with the fact that you could spend the rest of your life in prison, possibly?
No.
How does your family feel about this?
This was a shock. Never been in trouble for. So the only thing on my record is speeding tickets besides this incident. No one in my family has ever been incarcerated. So this is a huge shock for everyone in my family, and it's been a challenge for everybody. It's been a big challenge.
What has been your big challenge? Because you not only you don't gangbang. There's a minimal amount of your culture here, so you don't have anything that you can reach towards to grasp. You're completely out of your element. This is not your playing field at all. Or it shouldn't be anybody's playing field, but some people adapt rather fast.
Right.
What is your mental state? And how do you cope and live like this?
So not knowing what you're getting into, I think, was the biggest fear of mine. But once you came here and I saw that there is a lot of like-minded individuals who do want to, be pro-social, to have good programming, and do ultimately want to go home. And you need to find that group and stick to that group. And there is a lot of people on this yard, especially who've been pushing for that and who have got there.
Okay. Do you feel that your race or nationality could hinder certain things happening for you? Me, from the perspective of being a Muslim in prison, I've been through that. I've been through the being maced while doing salat, and we hate you guys, terrorists this, terrorists that. Do you feel that could be a factor in there, or do you feel judging eyes on you because of that?
You could say yes, but also that could be towards any race, right? You can look at anybody and point out something about them and feel some sort of way towards any race,
Right.
So I think that there's always going to be some sort of, stigma, racism, prejudice, whatever you want to say towards people. But you just got to do the best you can do and stick to your own truth and keep going. I think so. I have to.
And for you, how long does this? How does this happen?
I don't know. Go watch one of the 7 or 8 true crime shows on me. They'll tell you.
Oh no.
As a business partner, we got in a fight in the office. It went wrong. He died. Convicted of murder, first degree, with special circumstances of financial gain, because there was a pretty decent sized company involved. And here I am, life without.
And I represent 2 dudes right now from the Conflict and Innocence panel who have life without the possibility of parole. Mm-hmm. And even with a whole law school such as Cal State saying, hey, these guys did not do it. They didn't commit these murders. Just the fact of hearing life without, there's no chance. Do you believe that you have a chance?
I do. But you got to earn it now.
Do you believe that you've earned it?
My chance?
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to get there. I do what I can. It's just like him, culture shock, everything. I come from a Korean family, pretty well off, dates back pretty, far to Korea, all that, whatever bullshit, but a lot of social and cultural pressure to be successful. And then in the eyes of our culture, success is making lots of money. So even doing all that and having a good family and all,
Were you happy doing
Was I happy?
Was it the things that you were doing, is it what you wanted to do for yourself? Or was it something partly this is the family tradition?
Oh yeah, no, you don't, when you're, I'm the only child too, so.
Oh yeah, you didn't have no choice.
There's no, it's an obligation. You have to fulfill it. You go to a good school, you study hard, get good grades, you get a good job out of school, I was supposed to go to law school, and I already became a black sheep by refusing to do that. First job out of college, I was a stockbroker with Merrill Lynch. This was back in 2000, 1999, when that first internet bubble burst. Everyone was making tons of money, so
1 second. So you mean to tell me I got a stockbroker in here? This dude knows the books, and we don't have a multi-million-dollar business popping off right now? Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll hit you up on Global Tel Link, and we can discuss business matters. But how did that impact your family with the things that were going on? Because you said like more than 8 different people publicized your case or the things that happened?
Yeah, I mean, it was awful, brought tremendous shame to my
Did
family.
they turn on you? Was like, oh, we don't want anything to do with you, or?
Most of my friends and, when you're doing great, right? I mean, classic example, an athlete on top of the world, right? And then he crashes. Tiger Woods, right? When he was on top of the world and then all the scandal broke, everyone scatters to the wind. And then you know who your friends are, you know who your family is, because there's only the few that stand by you no matter what. For him, it was his mom, My mom and my dad were the same way. I had 2 friends that stood by me, 3 friends that stood by me loyal to the end. They're still loyal now, 13 years later. Talk to them all the time, and they don't judge me. They still love me. So
you have kids?
I have 4 kids, yep.
You got 4 kids. How do they feel about this situation?
They're not in the picture anymore. They're part of that. They were convinced that I was guilty and therefore don't want to be associated with me. But, external forces did that. And when you're young and you're a little kid, you're going to believe what people tell you. So, especially people that are responsible for your life. So,
how does that affect you mentally?
That's the hardest part, man. That's the pain. So that pain is the motivator, right? Because the only way I'll ever be able to reach them or, get to them is by getting out. And then I can, but kids too, they always want to know who their parents are. They'll come around. They'll reach an age where they're going to want to know who their dad is beyond the tabloids or the true crime shows and whatever negative press there was.
How do you feel about the press and the tabloids and all the, I know they're going to bleep this out, fuckery that they do?
It's a business, man. You got to sell. Sensation sells. I was involved in the media. I was in advertising. I know what it takes to make money. You got to manipulate. And that's what they do. Yeah. So
propagate.
The more sensation, I mean, come on, man. Why do you think true crime is one of the hottest sectors in entertainment?
Yeah, because I'm really tired of this Gypsy Rose shit. Yeah. Oh, man.
I mean,
like she's taking me too far with that. So this person was supposed to be your friend. Were they your friend?
The ones whom? You mean my partner?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were friends, but shit happens, man. I wasn't even supposed to go to work that day. If I didn't go to work that day, I wouldn't be here. It happened. So I normally take Friday afternoons off, but something happened. I got called into the office. Someone in the office was uncomfortable with his state of mind, and I confronted him on it, and here I am. It is what it is. So I have, the amount of regret that I have for even engaging is unlimited, but.
What is your biggest regret in that moment? Like,
not walking away, letting my ego, step in and deciding to fight when I shouldn't have. And then on top of that, after he went down, covering it up, letting my ego, oh, look at what you have to lose, being afraid of losing everything, driving you to then go down this dark path. And then the irony is, at the end of the day, you end up losing anything anyways. So.
How do you feel? Can you relate to him in any way? Just you? I've never even dealt with anything like this. This is. We've had the crooked cops that have shot people and did all type of stuff. We've had the mom shot in the head by her husband. We've had that, and she had to look at the guy while she's in the hospital and couldn't stand anything. It's been quite a few things, but this is, you come from money, you have the family, y'all are the dream people. But when I hear you and I look at you, it's like, I can be broke and I could have still been happy. It's like the shit Mike Tyson's talking about. He's like, man, when I was rich, I was miserable. When I was broke, I was at my happiest. But does that mean you have to sit in prison for the rest of your life?
I wasn't miserable when I was rich, but I'm gonna keep it real. But I definitely wasn't happy either. So when I think back on it,
What is your happiness now?
just knowing that my kids are doing pretty well out there, my family's all right, at the end of the day, that maybe, and then just being the change, understanding priorities are different now. So what I want out of life versus what I wanted then, completely different.
Before I get back, you seem like a pretty straightforward businessman. Do you understand the business of prison?
Absolutely. 1000%.
And I ask you a follow, can you give it to us raw? What is the business of prison?
The business of prison?
From as a businessman, a successful businessman.
Well, okay, so the economics, right? Think about what it costs to incarcerate a person.
65 to 100,000, depending on the risk
right?
factor.
And how many inmates are there here?
700 to 1,000 per yard.
So about statewide 200,000. Was that a close enough number?
Give or take, plus the running guns in
Right.
the back.
So 200,000 inmates and $100,000 per inmate a year. It's a lot of money, right?
Right.
And then where's all that money going? The electric company, the salaries of the officials and the officers and the employees, there's a union, there's a lobby, there's companies that benefit. There's Global Tellink / Viapath, biggest criminal organization probably in the United States, that they're benefiting off of the poorest of the poor, trying to support inmates, trying to give them $200 a month just so that they can eat a little bit better than the really lowest grade food that's served to the average inmate. And then everything else that's involved, it's nuts, but it's a machine, has to be fed. It generates a ton of money. And, but as a result, there is a serious economy beyond California. Every state has their own, correctional department, and then you have the feds too that have their own Department of Prisons. But, I think America is probably the one nation that is where this is such a behemoth, and that's why change and reform is so difficult. And when you see things that are changing, and don't get me wrong, I mean, California is trying. They've initiated this new California model and this and all that, and they're trying to copy what Norway is doing and what a lot of other cultures are doing. But at the end of the day, what hinders the actual true rehabilitation of inmates and allowing them to actually grow, change, and get out and become productive members of society is the money. Because, there are nations, I come from Korea. There are no life sentences in Korea. You kill somebody, you do 13 years. But you get written up while you're doing the 13 years, more time is added to your sentence. So are you gonna fuck up when you're doing those 13 years if you wanna go home? Hell no. You're gonna do your 13 years, you're gonna do every program, anything that they tell you to do so you can get out. But.
That was a beautiful statement. Because when I try to explain that to people, I said, why would I let the thing out of jail or person out of jail that's paying my bills, that's paying for the judge's kids to go to college, that's keeping that Benz with oil in it and all that? Why would I do that? That's taking money out of my pocket. People don't see the business side of it. Once you take the emotion out of it and just look at it for business, it is what it is. A car crash.
Sir?
So from a person whose father died in a car crash, my cousin was paralyzed, I have no way of wrapping my, were you speeding on purpose? Were you racing? Like what?
No, I was not racing. Ultimately I was coming home from dinner and a movie that night, and not getting too much into it, my girlfriend at the time confessed that she was self-harming, not eating and stuff like that. And moments later, we were in a car accident, and I was speeding, and I think hindsight's everything, right? So looking back at it, there was a lot more past factors that led up to my decision to speed that night, like entitlement, being immature, sheltered, no consequences for my actions in the past. I think that's what led me to.
Expound on that.
Well, there should be consequences for your actions. For me, I grew up in Orange County. I had possibilities that people wish they had, and I had so many great opportunities in my life, and so many blessings. Yet those, I think, hindered my growth as I got older, and I was never punished for like a speeding ticket or anything like that when growing up, right? So when I see the speeding ticket, my dad would tell me. I remember I was terrified to go to my dad when I first got my first speeding ticket. Terrified, man, he's gonna kill me. And I remember going to him and, Dad, I got a speeding ticket. He's like, okay, you know what? How much is a speeding ticket? You got to work this many more hours inside the laundromat to, pay for that ticket. And that was my punishment. So I think that kind of set the tone for me that speeding was no more than just a fine growing up. And there was no real consequences to my actions.
And more so, you can pay for all your problems to go away.
To an extent. And then, and that also leads to an entitlement, right? Thinking that, basically you're almost above the law to an extent, right? So that led to basically no consciousness of what my actions would.
Egotistical?
Of course.
He said that like a...
Yeah, but again, hindsight's everything, right?
Right.
This is looking back now.
Right.
But back then, when you're in that moment, everything speeds. Just worst thing that's gonna happen to you is a speeding ticket, right?
Right.
No, this is the worst. I took an innocent life. This is the worst thing that could happen. So.
It's still sit with me. If this was to happen to one of my family members, I can't take that. I don't know anything about these people, but if it was one of my family members and it was a car accident, it's something in my brain that's just like, I can't say, man, lock that man up for the rest of his life. It's something, no gang banging, none of that, any of the negativity. It's something in me that's just like, I can't see somebody sitting in prison for the rest of their life behind a mistake. 5 years, 10 years, 13, 15. It's hard for me to, how do you live with that?
Well, I think I'm taking this time to do the best I can, right? Like I said, I had a lot of flaws that I didn't even know I had till I came down in prison and started doing all these programs and started taking a deeper dive into myself and my past and, that was extremely difficult. And I have a long road ahead of me, right? And I'm gonna use that time the best I can to continue to grow and look more into, ways I can use my victim story in ways of making a positive impact and on the community and just keep going. I'm just gonna use time the biggest positive I can. As long as I'm here, I'm gonna make this a positive.
What have been some of your biggest obstacles?
Adapting to this whole lifestyle. I don't want to call it culture, but being an incarcerated man is difficult. It's very difficult. That was the biggest obstacle.
What is the biggest difficulty of that?
I think sometimes you can feel like you're not human almost. And that I think was the biggest difficulty. You almost feel like you're just a number, right?
I mean,
What, do you remember your number?
that's F7406, J0692, E0509, all the way down to my juvenile hall number. It's ingrained. I don't know. I remember that before I know my damn social security number.
Yep. So that was the biggest difficulty.
So but it's designed for that.
Yeah.
It's designed. They asked CO did an interview, and they asked her, what is your relationship with the inmate population, and why don't you say their name? She says, when you call somebody by a number, it takes the life away from them, because that's all that it is. I have no familiarity with anything outside of that. And that's, that can cause a rift in how you view yourself. Like I said, it took me getting a dog in prison to realize, like, damn, I'm still a person in here. I can still do those things. But it also took me getting a dog to see where my value was at. Because I noticed they'll get a dog. The dog a bottle of water, but I gotta go drink out the water hose. The dog can get out to use the bathroom before I gotta use the bathroom. So it shows where your value is.
Yeah.
In the world this world that we live in. How do you stay out of trouble? Well, both of you guys is known throughout my whole prison term. And that dude over there got money. Every yard you go to, they gonna know that's the dude that come from money, or that dude got this going on. Oh, that's the folks that's from Palestine. Oh yeah, Palestinians got money. Oh yeah, slide the money. I was one of the guys that was looking to get somebody that had money in debt. Yeah, he can go ahead and run up a $2,000 tab. I want him. Don't do nothing to him. He gonna pay. It's all right.
Right. So you're saying, how do we stay out of trouble?
How do you stay out of trouble? How do you stay sane?
I think just continue to work on yourself and positive programming. I think like Ed has been very beneficial, along with like Fermin and Victor on this yard. They've been really pushing positive programming on the yard. Like since I've been here, there's been so many programs started, and I was able to start a few as well, in the day rooms, alongside AA programs and NA programs. So I think just continuing to grow and staying positive. I think you don't want to let this environment change who you are, tarnish you. Basically, you want to grow in this environment, and I think that's the biggest thing you need to do.
If you two had the ability to start a program, you do whatever you want with it, what would it be? How would it be? You two had to team up.
Entrepreneurship.
Financial literacy, things like this.
I ran a program last quarter for a couple months. It was a pilot program teaching guys financial literacy basics. First of all, like starting with budgeting your money, and then I really truly believe that I'm here to help people. I mean, why else was I given all this stuff before that? And then now, if I have it and I don't share it, or at least try to share it, then I'm a selfish person, right? And one of the things that we're all trying to change about ourselves, I think every single person in this world would agree that selfishness is not a positive trait. So, and then I believe, understanding too, that the only real way that most guys that are inmates or ex-cons, felons, whatever, it's going to be hard. Like you said before, corporate America, no, they're not about accepting you.
Right.
Or if they do, then they're going to put you in a very small box and make sure you're in that box so that you don't do anything that will hurt them or potentially expose any risk to them, to where hiring a felon is going to cost them money.
Yeah.
So the best way an ex-con can succeed when they get out of prison is to start your own business, because be your own boss, and then the accountability is on you. Yeah. And so I really felt like that, at least putting it out there for these guys, even just planting small seeds in their minds that, hey, doesn't matter that I don't have a high school degree, or, I dropped out of school, because at the end of the day, all it is you got to have a passion, a passion for what you want to do. And when you have a passion, you're not even working. And that's what I try to tell people. A lot of people, they come up to me all the time because they want to know the secrets to success and how do you get rich?
Are you the rich dad poor dad?
So yeah, that part, right? And my thing is this, man, like if you're chasing money, you're not gonna be, like, you might get rich, but you're gonna be like small time rapper rich, right? You might be able to, put on some really flashy jewelry and afford a nice car, but then, you're not taking care of your next generations. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that, to me, that's wealth. So if you want to be wealthy, then you have to build a successful business. That's what his parents did. That's what my dad did. They came here with nothing. My dad was an immigrant, came here in 1974 maybe. just fresh out of the military, because every male in Korea has to do minimum 2 years service of military because we're still at war with North Korea. And as soon as he got off, he came here and he went to school at Ohio State. His aunt, she was married to a GI, so she brought him over on a visa. And he was going to school at Ohio State, trying to become an engineer, and then got a job at a local factory, and then realized that, he was making more money and it served him. So he didn't finish school, but he started moving up in the factory because he was working hard. And then he realized, I can do this myself. And he opened up his own business.
What you just said answers so many questions for me, because when you're around people who don't think like you and they get to talking about shit and you get to thinking the things you thinking are crazy because they don't think like you, and like, I know this is, so I want to be a bridge, and I need more people to get on the bridge with me. There's a bridge and there's a big ass gap. It's prison, and then it's outside of prison. It's not prison. Here goes a step to getting your credit. Here goes a step to writing a check. Here goes a step to medical insurance. Here goes the step to first home buyer manuals. Here goes a step to buying a car and learning how those things with it. We don't know any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about zero. I didn't know how to write a check or none of that stuff. And then as a man or as a person who's hardworking and you know your potential, you start to fight with yourself when you step into the corporate arena of working for someone.
Right.
Because once you get caught in that, I have a steady check and an income coming, you are now providing for somebody else's dreams. Mm-hmm. You're not taking on what it takes to chase after your dreams. What was it? Because you can explain this more than me. What, at that stage, where do you go and what do you do? It's decision time, but
you got to bet on yourself, man. You got to believe. And I mean, pardon my French, but fuck failure. If you fail, so what?
Yeah.
You're going to fail. Everybody fails.
At least you know what not to do next time.
Yeah. And and then you learn from it and you move on, it happens, some of them, no, not some, all of the most successful people have failed in spectacular ways, but they bet on themselves and they believed and they pursued it. I mean, look at an athlete, Kobe. We're talking about Kobe, right? Mm-hmm. The guy had a sub 500 shooting average, but it's still considered one of the greatest. If you're shooting at a 500% clip, right? 50% clip, you're an amazing NFL player or NBA player, right? But that you're still missing half your shots.
Right. Never looked at it like that.
You have to bet on yourself. You have to believe that if you're gonna set out to do it and you put the hard work into it, you're gonna achieve what it is. And you gotta create a clear goal for yourself too. But at the end of the day, it's like you gotta just bet on yourself. Don't let all the doubters. I mean, I already know, like, you're at a huge disadvantage being black. When you're born black, it's like the world is already hating you right off the.
This time the black man did not say it.
Right? But look at those guys they're the fighters. They're the ones that are the most, incredible. Kobe, insanely disciplined. Why? Because he knew what it took to succeed. And, every athlete, every artist, every businessman, every poet, author, it doesn't matter. They all followed their passion. They put the work in. And eventually people, they see that and they're drawn to it, and they're gonna either buy from you or they're gonna, read or believe in you, and that's where the success is.
Before I jump back to the bro, I got a question for you. When the remorse element comes up with you, I understand that when you look at especially Korean men, Vietnamese men, stoic, stone face, they can be happy as hell, but the face is still going to be there. How do you deal with that when you could be completely remorseful or whatever the case may be, but the world sees like, oh, he's just stone-faced about things?
I don't know. Maybe it's cultural. I don't know, but
that's the first time I seen you smile. There we go. I had to get it. I had to get it about you, but I just like, there's certain
you hurt inside, man. Like, but we've been taught, we're raised, we don't cry, we don't show our emotions.
Is that a flaw?
Absolutely.
Or is that something at an early age that our parents are teaching us to survive?
I mean, that's
Because
part
if
of
it
it
wasn't for
too.
the things that I was taught as a child, I wouldn't have been able to survive this jungle for 18 years.
Right.
And then with two men like you, I've recently come across, and only reason I'm able to do is comparison and contrast, is I finally just said, every person has a path that they have to take. You have to go on, the Australians do it. A kid turns 11, you got to go on a walkabout, walk through the jungle. If you come back, you're a man. If not, hey, it wasn't your time. Do you feel like every person has their path, and although you're at this part in your path, this isn't the end?
Of course.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah, this is not the end of your path. I mean, like you said, you have an option. It's what you do with it. I mean, even in here, you have opportunities. You have options. Even being incarcerated, you have that option. It's just what you do with it. And like Ed said, I mean, failure's okay. Quitting is not the option. You can't quit. Quitting is failure's okay. You can fail, but you can't quit. You know, fail as many times as you want, but don't quit. I think that's something that's really, really valuable. And here, looking at a life sentence, it's very easy for you to walk out there, and just fuck the world type thing, but you got to keep going. And that goes back to your choice. You have a choice. This is not the end of your path. You have more to live for. You have a lot more to go on. So.
And he stated what he wanted to do for the class. What would you do for the class? This is your business partner. Y'all team up. Y'all create this mastermind.
I think we did. He did his financial course. I did. I was able to create.
Did you take his financial course?
I did. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one that comes about. He's gonna keep expanding on that. I was lucky to be a part of new groups that have come to the yard, such as like Insight by Prep course. And then also I was able to create curriculum as well. So I created a DUI reckless driving course that I was able to create and get sponsored and teach alongside AA and NA classes, personal relationship course, stuff like that. And we've had that opportunities here. And just like you said, if we're given that opportunity, we're able to choose that better path. But if you have no opportunities, it's very hard to choose that path. So I think that's something I really want to highlight on is
Only the rest of the world would have.
we need those opportunities, and we can take that good path.
We've been really lucky too, because when I first got here, like 4 years ago, man, and then the COVID came and they shut everything down.
Right.
And, as a member of there's what's called an advisory council for the inmates.
Oh, you're a MACRA?
Yeah. So I represent my people, the Asians and the others. And every warden's meeting, captain's meeting, it's like talking on everything's falling on deaf ears.
Right.
But, there's been significant progress over the last 3 years. I mean, I don't know, when you came in, did you notice a koi pond out there?
No, he told me about a koi. I noticed it was.
Go
we
check it
came
out.
in like I said, I was kind of annoyed a little bit because I'm used to walking in prisons through the back, not the front.
Okay.
So I was like, man, is that a stork out there or a crane? He's like, oh, it's fake birds. I was like, well, it's like a. And then Ray was talking about a koi pond. Somebody was out there and their pants rolled up to their knees trying to clean it or something.
Yeah, we got a koi pond. I mean, we got murals all over the yard. But every housing unit. If you tour the facility, go into every day room, and you got murals right here, like the Kobe and Michael Jordan mural right here. Got murals like that all over. They got a hardcore Raiders one in there just for you, going to 5 block. And guys are being encouraged, and now that the opportunities and the doors are being open, you're seeing the fruit of that.
Yeah.
Guys are actually jumping in. They're participating. And there's an energy definitely that has about this place that is completely 180 from the pandemic. Where and when guys are productive, they're gonna stay out of trouble too. And so I think I'm hoping that this California model really they push it and they really commit to it and go all the way with it, because at the end of the day, you're going to see people who really grow and rehabilitate, right? I mean, that was the whole point of the R in CDCR. So, yeah, I mean, allowing us to have programs. We had a captain that came in just recently, the previous captain, his name's Gonzalez, and he pushed he's like, if it's productive and it's something that I see as rehabilitative, I will not say no. And guys just, I mean, you know, guys were just flooding his desk with proposals, but he was signing off on them. So our yard is better for it, man. Like, and we're a GP yard. You know, there's the stigma of, oh, we don't know how to program. We're only about gang banging and politics and violence. Hell no, we're less violent than most SNY yards and NDPF yards. And we have, you know, and when given the chance, guys will program, and we're proof of that. We are living proof of that.
That's something that I've been pushing since I've been out. I've been pushing that heavy. I go to the judges, I go in their courtroom, I go to talk to the kids, I go back in, or whatever the hell they want me to do, I'm gonna do it because I do it for the fellas in here. And I always let them know, it's like, go look at the S&Y yard, nothing against them. You made your choice, you go do what you do, champion. That ain't my problem. You know, you wanna go to the other side, handle your business. But I said, just take a comparison and contrast. And at the time we were in Corcoran. I said, look at their grass. Perfect. Edged up, volleyball courts, all that you could think of. They got concert and all that. Look at our yard. Potholes, you'd break your ankle walking to a visit. Kitchen, the flies are literally falling out the sky in the kitchen. Dirt mounds everywhere, roof caved in, sewage coming out the drains, all that. We got to do a protest just to get yard. And one day a captain came and took a risk. She said, all right, you guys, you're doing too much over here. So in 2 days, this captain, never forget it, Miss Bonita Weaver, she said, I'm gonna flip the yards. I'm gonna put all the GPs, they're gonna go through the shoe gate. We're gonna come out this end, and we're gonna take all the S&Ys, and we're gonna put them in the shoe kickout yard. And then she put us over there. And then they looked, she said, you see the difference? You see the difference of respect? You see the respecting of the boundaries. You see people know where they need to go, where they need to be, how shit's supposed to be done. Aren't they happy that they have program and they're able to get extra toilet paper because everybody need to wipe their ass? Just the simple things that you were taken from, you're able to get now, and you've seen so much programming. And what happened next was the slap in the face. They took the programs.
A podcast called Strangest Fruit.
Okay, we're at the last interview. You know, we saved the best for last. So, had these fellas on yesterday. We were right there finna get into some, it was already heavy. It's gonna get a little bit heavier. So now we gotta come back with it and do it again so this can be the conclusion, and we really get to ask some questions, especially that these dudes can educate us. Like, I would sit down and go to a lecturing seminar, whatever it is, TEDx these men when y'all get the chance, you know, give them that platform. So, safe to say, two of the most normalest people. I mean, I don't see a tattoo. I don't see it's different here. What is your plan, Mr. Shin?
My plan?
Yeah.
While I'm in here, my plan is to, if I could create one unicorn. You familiar with that term? Mm-hmm. When a business has $1 billion valuation, if I can get one inmate that I ever interacted with or mentored or even gave the simplest advice to, and then later see him on the cover of Forbes saying from behind bars to the boardroom, and then here's, whatever, Mr. Becerra or, Mr. Whoop-de-woo, doesn't matter, right? Any of these guys, then I'll say that my time here was well worth it. All the pain, the suffering, regardless of all that, and the pain and the suffering that I personally caused to the victims' families, then at least something came out of it. Because, you asked me about regret, right? I can regret all day long, but that's not going to change the fact that, it happened. So, and at the cost of sounding maybe callous, you have to move on. You know, if you don't, then, you know, it's everything is a waste, and, you know, that's a shame. So I can only, obviously, yes, I'm gonna always be remorseful and sorry for what happened. I'm gonna be remorseful and sorry for the pain and the suffering, not only on the victim side, but my family, because they became victims of my actions. So if there's any way out of this pain and this suffering and this, you know, just monstrosity, right, that something great can come of it, and whether that's through taking my life experiences and then sharing them and passing them along, I try my best to every new inmate that comes in here to, like, educate them, to even guys that I see, when I see their situations were similar in mine, like, for example, Kevin's.
Yeah.
I mean, he couldn't have been more like me. His parents are immigrants. They came, they started a small business and it became successful. They gave him every opportunity in the world to succeed himself, paid for his education, allowed him to then be great on his own. You know, my dad did the same. My dad and my mom did the same, you know, and made sure that I was going to a good school, and made sure that I was, you know, got tutors for my SATs, and, you know, regardless, they gave every opportunity, but yet here I am, you know, yet here he is. So I see that, and I said, well, look, bro, you're coming into this environment, and this is what's gonna be happening to you, and this is what you're gonna go through. And, you know, just to soften the blow, because, I mean, I went through it, and I had it pretty tough. I did 8.5 years in county jail fighting my case before I went to trial.
Oh, that's horrible.
To lose, you know? So, but that's a long time. And I'm pretty grateful that I came in and when I was 33. So I've lived a pretty full life prior to that. Definitely a more full life than the average 33-year-old.
Correct.
I've seen, done, traveled, experienced so many things. And I look at all of that as a blessing, because that is ultimately has probably, like, survival gear for me in here. Because, you know, despite the regret and all that, but now it's like you can move forward and now work with, it's always about prison, I think, is you can choose to either survive, thrive, or die. That's it. You have 3 options, you know? Survival, it's not fun because you're constantly living in fear. You're waking up, you're wondering if you're gonna die that day, right? And you're gonna just do whatever it takes to make sure you get to the next day. That's not living. But it's surviving, whatever. You can thrive, taking your current environment and take with what you have and what's available to you and make the best life that you can possibly make, regardless. Because, you know, yeah, there's a lot of complaining about prison and this and that. And, you know, I could write a book about what's wrong with prison, but, you know, it could be worse. I could be in an African prison. I could be in a Filipino prison.
Brazilian.
Yeah, Brazilian prison, you know, Venezuela, whatever. Some of these places where these guys have to crap on the floor and a hole in the ground. You know, at least we have running water. You know, we get 2 hot meals a day. So you can choose to then thrive in this environment and look at the opportunities that still, at least the state is trying, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, I know earlier I said, you know, ultimately, yeah, they're not gonna do a mass release, but they're gonna want people to actually rehabilitate, because that's what they're about.
Right.
But there's still an 800-pound gorilla that needs to be fed. So it's always going to be, you know, this tug of war between the 2 things. Like, oh yes, we really want to rehabilitate and create productive members of society, but at the same time, we have a well-oiled machine that we have to make sure that $200 billion or whatever you want to call it, the multi-billion-dollar budget still has to be fed, right? So, but that choice is on the individual. Because just like in real life, in society, right? Not everyone succeeds, but the ones that put in the work, you know, that do what it takes and really just choose and bet on themselves, like I kept saying, bet on yourself. The same goes in here. The inmates that bet on themselves and they put in the work and they say, you know, screw all the BS, you know? I can do this. That's what I want. I want a guy to come in here who went to my class. I taught him how to be an entrepreneur and said, this is what it takes to run your own business. And I want to see that business on Forbes magazine. So.
Nat,
That's what I want.
Nat. Yeah, Mr. Nat. What is your viewing and opinion of today's youth? Where would you, if you can have just a full, just all hands on onto where their life is headed, and you can educate them and the whole thing, how would you do it? Where would you start at?
Man, the hardest thing I think with this youth, and I mean just period, is humility. Can you be humble? It's the hardest thing in the world. Because when you're successful and everything's being handed to you and everybody loves you and that gravy train, all your homies and all your, pretend friends, and everybody wants to be on that gravy train, right? And they're just doing nothing but feeding your ego. Nobody wants to say no to you. Nobody wants to say you're doing something wrong. Nobody wants to point out your flaws. And then what's that doing? Now that's pumping up your ego, right? And if there's a way where young people can understand that despite all that, if you can remain humble, then you'll be great.
And what was that, yesterday when we came in, it's like, who's Mr. Shin? And I was like, I'm asking. And you responded, you were like, no, go and look this up. No. Because if I look that up, that's going to cloud my judgment possibly. I'm going to start thinking this or no. I see the man right here before me, equal as me. And that's why I just totally disregarded that. I went and looked, and I was like, man, I've invested a lot into this guy's company. I've invested a lot into this. I might be your $1 billion guy, but no, I just want to have that equality right there, And that's why I said, let him show me who he is. I mean, I don't care what all the other people have done and shit like that. I want to see who this person is. You, what are you eating later on tonight?
What am I eating?
Yeah, what are you going to eat for dinner?
Shit. Probably soup and a fish.
Soup and a fish, like a whole fish?
Whole fish, maybe a bag of mackerel and a soup.
How does conforming to this coming from where you came from, because you have a different diet?
We do, yeah. I say diet was a big shock. We talk about half the time. We sit there and we reminisce, because believe it or not, we grew up really miles away from each other, Believe it or not.
Like 5 miles.
No bullshit. So we talk about these spots that we used to eat at and stuff like that. So diet was the biggest shocker, I think, coming in, because I had no idea what I was going to be eating at first. But I will say it's better than what I expected.
Really?
Yeah, I'll say it's better. And the food drives and stuff, it's better than what I expected. From what the canteen and food drive wise, not what they serve us.
Right.
That wise, it was better than I expected.
And then now that we on the food thing, do you buy your own soups or no?
Yeah.
Really?
We have a care package program that the state provides. You can get a 30-pound box of pretty much, it's like shopping at Walmart, right?
Wow.
And they have a bunch of, it's all dry goods, preserved foods. There's nothing fresh because it can't rot, obviously, anything that can't go bad. And you can get Maruchan noodles. You can get, you can get my name noodles, Shin noodles. You can get, Korean. I was blown away when I first got, and I opened up the catalog and boom, there's Korean food on there. I was like, what the hell? And rice, there's all sorts of crackers, cookies, honey buns, you name it, it's on there. And then seasonings. And so it's amazing. You will be amazed at the creativity that comes from this place from lack of resources.
And what you can cook.
Oh, my first time having Asian omelet. Shout out to my boy James Lee, my guy right there. That's my boy right there. My first, it was a culture shock. So being that a black guy, you walk past the Asian guy sale. What is he in there making? Like, what's going on? For me, it was just a whole thing. Why is the curtain so high? Why are you sitting over there? Why are you in there without your shoes on? You know what I'm saying? Why are you sitting on the bed Indian style? Like, it was just so many things that I wanted to ask. And I'm like, well, just ask him and get it over with already. So one of the questions I wanted to ask, you were in here at a time where the Asian population had not been solidified, called Korean, Vietnamese. How did it feel that your race was called other? and everybody else had a title, and we're just other?
Didn't really think much of it, because you're an extreme minority. There are 2 Koreans on this yard, myself and another guy. And for almost 3 years, it was just me. I was literally the only Korean. And I was like begging for Koreans. But then at the same time, that means Koreans need to come to prison. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. Let me change that thought. But yeah, and it's hard because, I speak Korean fluently. I'm tremendously immersed into the Korean culture. I lived in Korea. Growing up, every summer or winter, we were going back to Korea to visit my family. So I miss a lot of that. I miss being able to speak, other than speaking Korean to my parents or, like my great aunt or, the few Koreans that are in my life, I speak Korean to them. But, I would love to be able to have somebody that I can speak Korean to on the yard, just to, if you're not using it, you're losing it type scenario. But even this guy, he doesn't even speak Korean that well. So half the Korean I'm speaking to him, he doesn't understand. I got to say it in Konglish,
Konglish?
Yeah, so Korean English. Yeah, so, but yeah, it's, but in my time here, the Asian population overall, meaning all the other Asian races, we have grown considerably. At one point, there was literally 5 of us, and now we're up to 20, and it's good despite, minute differences between the various cultures, but overall there's underlying foundations that are shared, most of all family. So we all have that, and I think that helps us ultimately, get along, and we try to be a family on the yard because, if in prison, you got to have your brothers, those are the ones, because they're going to watch your back and you're going to watch theirs, and you're going to either thrive or survive or die together.
Sink or swim. Are there any Lebanese people on the yard?
There are. There wasn't for a while. When I first came, there wasn't. But since I've been here, one other Lebanese or two other Lebanese have come.
One and a half.
Half.
And then
It's interesting.
There's more Lebanese than Koreans.
Yeah, there are.
So a person from Lebanon speaks
Arabic.
Arabic?
Yeah, I'm not fluent, but I can get by.
You can get by.
Yeah, so we can communicate. We can.
So you said parents. One of them is
Dad is Lebanese, mom is Syrian. For me.
Are both Muslim or no?
No, dad is Muslim. Dad's side of the family is Muslim. Mom's side of the family is Christian. So battle there as well.
How did that work?
So growing up, it was household was very much Muslim. Like no pork was in the household. My dad's uncle, my uncles, my aunts on my dad's side, my grandpa on my dad's side, praying, wear the hijab, everything like that. But then also at the same time, I went to a Christian school my whole life. So I was in a private Christian school from first grade all the way up to high school. And in college, I went to a private school as well. So it was
So you never, which one did you decide? Or you just?
So I would say I practiced more Christianity, especially growing up, and especially in that in my education. Right, 8 hours a day, you're practicing that religion. So I know a lot more about Christianity and practice Christianity a lot more.
Plus, you get to eat bacon.
Oh,
No,
you like the pig booty? They say eating that pig
Chinese
booty.
sausages, yep.
Chinese sausages. That is so. You do believe in God?
I do, yes.
You believe in a higher power?
Absolutely. God is the higher power.
Facts. Two men like you come together. What are the chances of this happening in society? You live 5 miles away, 5 minutes away from each other a long time, and you never bumped into each other, but yet you're 400-something miles away.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo.
We're 16 years apart.
Yeah,
so.
see, I talked about it, though. I thought if I was a little bit older, he was a little younger, we'd have 100% bumped into each other. 100%.
And what were you working as when you were out?
We have a family business in Lake Forest, dry cleaner.
Dry cleaning?
Yeah.
You get out.
Yeah.
Do you jump into the family business, or you build something in here and get out and run that?
So I was helping in the family business before I came in here, but I would continue the family business. That's something I'm very passionate about. I mean, my dad started that 35 years ago, so I'm gonna continue that legacy alongside my sister. However, one of my main goals is to start a nonprofit to spread awareness of my victim story, because I feel like my story, with not having any criminal background, not anything like this, I could help others. I really think that could help others not make the same mistakes I did. And if you think of a prisoner, you might think of something like you said, oh, you have no tattoos on your face, like you said earlier, you have no this, but that's not what prison is. There's all walks of life in it, and I want to share that story with others. So that's my main goal. So I sharpen that while I'm in here.
When is this gonna happen?
It's already in the works. It's already in the works. I already have a website made, stuff like that. But obviously, it can't proceed till I am out there. And it's gonna be something kind of like, I want it to be something like, was it Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MAD?
Mm-hmm.
But formulated against just speeding and reckless driving, something like that.
And where are we gonna get a book from you?
It's only one being written.
Yes, that would be that's something I'll go around passing out, because it's you guys are pillars of the community. No matter what people say, you're pillars of the community. They need men like you, women like you, with the like-mindedness to get out and rebuild. I would love to be able to say, yo, I got the two brothers, we finna go over here to the community center in Compton, where they had the expungement event that they just had, and they were providing job opportunities. And I would love for you guys to go in there and be like, this is how you do this, this, this. Because the rest of the world is basically saying, we're not gonna hold your fucking hand. You were in jail, you didn't learn. Go work in the back of the freaking can company. Go step on cans all day. That's what you do. So, or you go into the halfway houses, they want you to work at rubber factories, or they have the contracts done with Amazon, and they know that you're not going to pass the background test, but as long as they have a dude working there for 2 weeks to fill in the blanks, then they fire you and let you go. And still have they don't know these things, and you shouldn't have to bump your head over and over. So you guys are just painting the picture. So I ask, like, when can we do this? I want to be involved in all of this. Like, this is nice, real nice. So you first. I'm always going to Mr. Shin first.
Sure.
There's a person right now about to jump into a car and make a bad decision.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to tell that person before they put that car in drive?
I think really think about your actions. For me, the way I can kind of relate to that is there's a long way between a speeding ticket and murder, right? You think of a speeding ticket as maybe a fine, right? But that can correlate to murder, right? Like, that's why I'm here. Those speeding tickets correlated to why I'm here, right? So I think of those decisions when he's gonna get in that car, he needs to think of the broader picture. And what your actions now, the consequences way in the future. And it's not something you can see at the moment. Like, I could never, if you told the 16, 17-year-old version of myself, speeding, you doing this now is gonna lead to you getting hit with 15 years to life. It can lead to murder. I'm like, there's no way, there's no correlation between the two, right? The worst thing that can happen from this is I'm gonna get a speeding ticket, right? And I think I would tell him to open his eyes and really understand the impact of your actions on yourself, your family, your community, your victim, the victim's family. It goes on and on. That ripple effect is huge. So just be aware of your actions.
Mr. Shin, you could tell a man that has nothing where to start with getting everything while remaining humble, what would you tell him?
Go work for free at whatever it is you want to do. You want to be a general manager of a sports team, then go mop the floor of the basketball court. You want to be a world famous chef, and make sure you're washing dishes at some restaurant, because it's only unless you know the entire workings of what you're doing, you're not gonna be able to build a great organization. Because then, having done all that, when you are in the top, then you're going to be paying attention to all those different levels, and you're going to say, well, I'm going to make sure that my organization, that my mailroom is run right, because I used to run the mailroom. I know what it's like. What it's like in there. Or just if you're in the customer service business, I have to make sure my reps are properly answering the phone and taking care of my customers and making sure that when they hang up that phone, they're satisfied with the phone call that way, because they're going to come back and buy my product or sign up for my service again in the future. So it's all about, it's knowing everything about what you're doing.
And lastly, before we go, is time more valuable than money?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's not even a question.
A lot of people in the world think otherwise.
Think about all the money that's being spent on creating more time for people. And then you tell me what's more valuable.
It gets me every time. That's why I said, don't let them know what you're finna ask them. Just go and ask them. I appreciate it, fellas. If you have anything you want to say to the kids, you want to say to the world, go.
You first, man.
Look at that.
Go ahead.
I would just say, for everyone out there, just be mindful of your community and reach out and help. This is an experience I never thought I would have, and now that I'm here, I'm gonna take this. This is a great, I'm grateful for the opportunity. There's an opportunity here that I'm gonna learn that I can never learn anywhere else, and I'm gonna be stronger because of that. And I want others to come take a part in this and see if you can help. You never know who you could reach out to and who could resonate with your story and who you can help. So just be open. That's all I'll say.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take risks. Bet on yourself. Because if you can't help yourself, then nobody else will. So if you believe in you, you can do it. It can be done. That's what makes America so great, is that the dream is real. It can be done. It can be accomplished. If you really set out, you put in the hard work and you believe in yourself, you will succeed.
Nice. Well, I appreciate it, family. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Didontae Farmer, Strangest Fruit podcast with the production studio of Purge Studios. I want to thank my crew, Vicente Martinez, M Street, Big Griff, Sound On, and all the fellas that were here that partook in this. And I want to send a special message to just the entire population, whether you're inside, outside, it doesn't matter. If you want to change the narrative, you got to take a risk, bro. If you want to stay in them old ways, don't get mad at everybody else because they going doing things and they're becoming successful. They getting out, they're meeting their kids, they're becoming that hero that everybody knows they are. Don't get mad because they're being a pillar of the community that they knew that they were and that they are now. Don't get mad because a man finds himself and stands on who he is and continues to push with that. If we stay stagnant, it's like dirty water. Nobody want a part of that shit. Nobody wants to. I don't want to go swimming in a pool of poop and bull crap. We got clean water coming through, and it's our opportunity to keep it clean. It's our chance to change the narrative. Let's do it. I appreciate it. Everybody stay blessed and see them contracts. We're gonna see y'all in some months so we can go over that too. All right. Thank you to the staff members here, especially to the AW and CDCR, because y'all didn't have to let us do this. Appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Shin, bring it in, Mr. Shin.
A podcast called Strangest Fruit.